If you're doing assignment day 7 for grammar, you've come to the right place. Starting out with capitalizations. This is pretty much the negative capitalization section. Do not capitalize seasons. Summer, spring, fall, winter. Do not capitalize seasons. Do not capitalize animals, plants, musical instruments, diseases, illnesses, food, directions, dances, or games. However, if a proper adjective is used, capitalize the proper adjective. And they give you the examples there of Irish wolfhound. Irish would be capitalized, wolfhound would not. And Italian salad dressing. The I in Italian would be capitalized, but salad dressing would not. Keeping that in mind and all the other things that you've learned so far with capitalization, they give you the sentence, did Abel take Cove taxi service from Nashville International Airport to visit the General Jackson showboat last spring? All right, so hopefully you've started doing your underlining of what words need to be capitalized, and you can check your work here then. Okay, so first word of the sentence, did, is capitalized. Abel is someone's name, it's capitalized. Cove taxi service is the name of the service, it should be capitalized. From Nashville International Airport, okay? That's a proper noun, it's a place, it should all be capitalized. To visit the General Jackson showboat, the G, the J, and the S should all be capitalized. And then we have last spring. But because we were listening carefully to all the negative statements from the capitalization section, you would know not to capitalize spring because that is a season. Okay, in the punctuation section, place a comma after each item in a series of 3 or more, but not after the last item. Journalists usually omit the comma before the conjunction. However, the comma is often used in academia. Okay? So when you're writing for me and for Mrs. Kanzenbach and for Mrs. Hine, you will use the comma in a series rule where you place a comma after each item and before the conjunction, because you're not a journalist, you are a student writing in an academic setting. So if you look at the example, Jana, comma, Kiki, comma, Mo, comma, and Yancey are the conference leaders. That's the proper way to punctuate items in a series. So if we take a look, Lonnie created a card, printed it out, and sent it to her friends. So what did Lonnie do? She created, she printed, and she sent. Okay? So we have 3 items in a series. We're going to put a comma after each of the phrases that are put in the series. So it would be Lonnie created a card, comma, printed it out, comma, and sent it to her friends, period. Okay, now moving on to the phrases and clauses section, and I will alert you, there's a bonus point available right here, right now. If you remember, a participle phrase begins with a present participle or a past participle. We've seen this definition many times, but now you've learned about how you want to highlight important words when you're reading. So I would take a highlighter or a colored pen and circle the word participle phrase, because that alerts you there's important information coming after those 2 words. All right? So a participle phrase begins with a present participle or a past participle. What's a participle? If you took the infinitive verb to tear, the present participle would be tearing. The past participle would be torn. They give you example phrases. For tearing, tearing his shirt, tearing open the Twizzlers bag, Torn into two pieces is their example for a past participle phrase. Torn into three pieces, torn in half. Okay, those are other ways you can use torn as a past participle in a phrase. Now, what they want you to do is write a couple participle phrases for to call. Here's your bonus. After to call, I want you to write down whether this is a regular verb or an irregular verb. And if you get it correct, you'll get the bonus point. Okay? So looking at to call, we want a present participle. The present participle for call is calling. All right, so calling home, calling the dog, calling loudly, calling for help. Okay, those would all be participle phrases. Actually, I'm going to take back the calling loudly, not a participle phrase. Calling for help is. Participle phrase using the past participle. What's the past participle of call? The past participle of call is called. I'm just adding ed to the infinitive form, called. That makes called a regular verb. But now I need a phrase for called. What about called to serve, called to the priesthood, called to be faithful? Okay, those are all very fine, acceptable phrases that would use the past participle called. All right, moving down to parts of speech, nouns. A common noun names a person, place, or thing. A type is still a common noun. A proper noun names a specific person, place, or thing, and you capitalize a proper noun. Well, hopefully you remember that already, because we've been doing that since day one, I believe, in capitalization. But it's just a reminder. When you come across a proper noun, you're going to capitalize it. Now, this is a little tricky, these directions down here. Read them carefully. In the first blank, so you see A, blank, blank, dust. In the first blank, write CN if it's a common noun. Write PN if it's a proper noun. In the second blank, write C if the noun is concrete, and A if the noun is abstract. Do you remember what a concrete noun is? It had kind of a funky definition. It was if it's made up of atoms, it's a concrete noun. So if it's something you can touch or see or feel, it's a concrete noun. It's an abstract noun if it's something not made of atoms, made of thoughts. Okay, so we have the first word, which is dust. Is dust a common noun or a proper noun? It's a common noun. Is dust concrete or abstract? Is it made up of atoms? Can you touch it? Can you feel it? You can. It's concrete. B, faith. This is not faith, someone's name. This is faith, the term, the theological virtue, faith. Okay. Faith. Is faith a common noun or a proper noun? In this case, it is a common noun. It's a common noun. And is it concrete or abstract? Can we touch it? Can we feel it? Is it made of atoms? No, it's not. Faith is abstract. It's A for abstract. And then finally we have stan. Is stan a common noun or a proper noun? It's a proper noun because it's someone's name, Stan. And is it concrete? Is Stan made up of atoms? Yes, he is. He's a person. So Stan is concrete. So what that should look like, actually, is like this. Have it all there? Yeah. All right. So that's what it should look like for you. All right, last section is sentence combining. You've got 3 sentences to combine. Good luck. I am excited to read them.